Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. In this video I'm going to be fitting some handguards to my Kove 450 Rally. Now if I've seen you out and about in the last 6 months or so, you might have noticed my bike didn't have any bars on it. The reason for that is that when it was delivered I had planned to put on the Kove Pro handguards, which is these ones, and they hadn't actually arrived. They didn't come in the first shipment of parts and they followed later. Then when I actually went to try and fit them and do a video last time, I realised that I'd lost the bag of bolts. I have since found the bag of bolts so I could actually fit them. Another thing I found was that actually the size of the insert at the end, sort of the quill bit that compresses in, is actually a little bit too small for the standard bars. Now, if you have a Kove 450 Rally Pro, the actual Rally version, not the road-going version, it's got a thicker handlebar, so they do fit. I did wonder whether it was just ignoring these altogether and just fitting a new handlebar, and I do have a Renthal fat bar that I'm going to put on the bike. However, before I do that, in the past I pretty much always used Barkbusters, so with the exception of my CRF 300, which has some Zeta, potato handguards on it, all my other bikes have Barkbusters. I did have a set of Barkbusters for tapered handlebars, which is these do have a fat bar on as standard. So what I thought might be interesting, because I've seen some people mocking the Kove ones a little bit, they actually look pretty robust to me. And people saying that, yeah, Barkbusters is the only way to go. What I'm actually going to do in this video is I'm going to do a comparison of the two of them, which will be showing you them close up, side by side on the bench, so you can actually see the fit and finish on the Kove ones, because I actually think they look pretty good. I'm then going to weigh them, which I know is what some people hate, some people are interested, so you can skip over that bit if you're in the former. And then I'm actually going to fit the Pro handguards to my bike. They are the ones that designed by Kove specifically for the bike, and instead of clamping the bars further down, they have quite a nice sort of clamping point around the mirror stems. So that's probably a longer intro than it needed to be, but nevertheless I will put these on the bench, show you what they're like, do the comparison between them, fit them to the bike, should be all done. Hopefully it'll be a short video. Here we go. So what I have here are the two different types of handguards. So the first one I'm going to show you is the Kove one. So this is the one that comes on the official Rally bike. So it's I'm guessing probably alloy bar. It's maybe 5mm thick, something like that. It's kind of that length. So you get two of those like this with the quill thing on the end. Then you have these bits. So these essentially replace the back half of the clamp for the mirrors. And then that essentially attaches like that. If you imagine the handlebar goes from here, back of there, through onto there. And then these are the handguards. Now they are smaller than the Barkbusters. I know Barkbusters do various different sorts. The one at this very end has got a metal insert. You can just about see that in there. So that's the one that essentially goes onto that clamp. That will go through there. The other two, there's just a couple of these stepped screws that go into that hold those on. So that's what the Kove ones look like. Now some people had said they didn't rate them, but honestly I think they look pretty robust. Not sure how strong those will be, but they are cast, they are alloy, and they're certainly subtle compared to the Barkbusters. So I'm not going to unwrap all of this, but this is essentially the Barkbusters fitting kit for a tapered bar. You get a number of fittings. You get these aluminium arms, which one bolt goes through the end into the end of the handlebars. The other one goes onto these clamps around the front. You get two of them. And then there's different sorts of handguards. These are actually the Storm handguards that I have. So just what I wanted to do is to do a quick weight comparison. I know that's kind of a thing that some people enjoy, some people do not. So bearing in mind, this weight is almost the highest point on the bike. It's on the handlebars, it's like up there, right there in your hands. So if I first of all try to balance the Barkbusters on the scale, that's 235, 465, and the handguards. So everything for the Barkbusters is just over 1 kilo. So if you imagine that's half a kilo weight on each hand, which I think is actually quite a lot. By contrast, the Kove Pro ones, the two bars, out of the way, 276. Those two arms, 332, 338, 388, sorry. Four of those, 407, and then if I add the plastics, So 550. So essentially the Kove ones are half the weight of the Barkbusters. And I think 500 grams high up on a bike, half a kilo, that's more than a pound, is significant enough that I'm not going to go with the Barkbusters. I am going to go with the Kove ones to begin with. Now the slight problem I had, and I think this would apply to both of them, is that these are designed for the Pro bars, which have a thicker wall, which mean a smaller hole, and these fit perfectly. These do not fit perfectly to the standard bar. So I'm just going to wrap some tape around those, just to pad it out. I'll essentially undo the bolt, wrap some tape around till it's the right size, push it in, and then just expand the bolt, and that should hold it. I know it's not perfect, and at some point I will put my fat bars on the bike, but I think I'm going to try this just with the Kove handguards first. So before I fit them, I'll just show you what the problem is. So the way that these would fit over is that would go in there, but that is the wall here is too thin. So essentially that doesn't really fit. And even when this is done up to the tightest, it's still too small to fit in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape this up, probably put 6 or 7 wraps of tape around it, and then hopefully that will go in and will fit solidly. Okay, so I will try to do this on the camera. If it gets too fiddly, I'll take it away and do it separately. But I'm essentially just putting some electrical tape around the quill. Like that. Helps if I probably need some new electrical tape that doesn't tear quite as easily. Get that bit on. There we go. Try again. You see how that is? No, it needs to go quite a bit bigger than that. Getting closer. Maybe another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's see how that is. Okay, sorry, so I had to snap that off over there. So I've essentially made that bigger, so that now when I put it in there, it's kind of snug. Okay, that's exactly as I wanted it. So that should have now got enough thickness that when I tighten it up, it will actually grip centered. Yep. Okay, so I think that will actually be okay. The next thing to do is to remove those 2 bolts for the rear of the mirror and to put the bracket on there instead. What this does mean, I've just noticed, is that if I take that off, then I no longer have a mirror mount there, so I'm going to have to find another way to mount my mirrors. That is less ideal. Very tight on the cable that goes into the starter, but I think that's on. Yeah, you're still just trying to get it around that. That's just proving really awkward to get in. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's because it looks like it's the electrical wire for the starter button is basically where this needs to go. So you're trying to get the screw to engage. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to cross thread it. There we go. Okay, now we're in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put the bolt in from the back. Probably can't quite see it on there, but it's essentially this bolt. I'll show you from the other side in a moment. So I think that is essentially going to determine the angle of the guard. So now I'm just going to tighten that up on the end of there, and also tighten this one up. So that is now on, and that actually feels pretty robust. Now what I'm going to do, what I forgot to do actually, was put the handguard itself on. So that will have to come off. I just wanted to make sure it was all in the right position. There we go, so that is actually on and that actually feels really solid. And I think they're quite, sounds a bit daft, I think they're quite elegant. Sounds like a ridiculous thing to say about a handguard, but just that bracket is just super simple. You don't need to have the clamps that the Barkbusters have down there. I do need to work out what I can do for a mirror though, because I'm using this as an adventure bike. I'm sure if you're racing the Dakar, it doesn't matter if you've got no mirrors, but I'm definitely going to need mirrors and I'm definitely going to need somewhere to put them. So I think that will still be less than half a kilo, so I'm sure it's still a weight saving over the Barkbusters, but it is going to need some investigation. I'll give you a quick look at this so you can just see exactly how that's gone in. Like I say, I think this is really elegant, this is really tidy. They certainly seem robust enough, and having that arm in there, which just comes on and then mounts onto the back of here, is really nice. So what I need to do now is just fit the other one. I'm not going to talk through this, I will just film it and then speed it up. So there you go, that's the Kove handguards fitted. I'll just give you a quick look round. So as you can see, that's the new bracket. It's just on there. If I come underneath, you can see the bar extends forward. And then in here we have these two sort of quite robust metal bars, alloys. The handguards, the plastic, I guess, matches the rest of the bike's plastic. And yeah, we don't have this big Barkbusters clamp up at the front there. If I just come around and show you the other side. And yeah, same as before. Yeah, I think those are actually pretty elegant. I actually really quite like those. So the problem I do have now is that I no longer have my mirror mounting point on the top there. But I had a quick look on the internet. It looks like I can get some ram ball clamps that will go on there. I was going to put my double take mirrors on anyway, so those will just go in there. So that's it. That is my video on fitting the Kove handguards, the Kove Pro handguards, to the standard Kove 450 Rally. I actually really like them, and I must admit, I know that Barkbusters are great. I use them on several other bikes and they are very robust, but I'd never weighed them before and I actually didn't know that they weighed a kilo. I know the length that some people go to try and make their bikes lighter, and actually be able to save half a kilo at the handlebars. For me, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. I was always going to put the Koves on with that choice. I guess I also need to crash a few times with them just to see how that goes, and I also need to sort out my mirrors. So there'll be another video. I've tried to get some ball clamps that will go on the handlebars. So assuming that those come through and they fit around the cables and around the brake reservoir, then I'll be using my double take mirrors with the bike on those mounts. So I hope that's been interesting and useful. I've still got a few more videos to come for this round of modifications to my Kove 450 Rally. So maybe I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.